I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. Today, I want to thank the Republicans in Congress for continuing to show themselves to be who we know them to be. You know, I always think they can't do any worse, right? They voted against voting rights, women's rights, the minimum wage. They voted against immigrants in a country built by immigrants. These guys would vote for puppy drowning if it came to the floor. And understand, all you Karens and MAGA Carls, when they take rights from any of us, they take rights from all of us. I mean, do you think you're special white man, do you? Because they're eventually going to get around to you. And because you did nothing while they took black and Hispanic voting rights, when they passed laws against gay and trans, and every woman in America's rights have been taken. That's right, your wives and your daughters' rights too, bro. So when they come for your right to eat thrice daily cheeseburgers to maintain your type 2 diabetes, or your precious right to Viagra, fecal porn, and your bang bang stick, when they come take those rights, you're going to deserve it. But voting against the burn pit bill is stunning in its hatred of the troops, some of which are in my family. For a bunch of guys who during an election keep talking about support the troops, who claim our soldiers are their personal voting base, who then talk about their sacrifice while voting against the bill that takes care of them for their sacrifice, these are the same guys who worship a guy who dodged the draft 5 times. Yeah, man, they love the troops. They love them like I love my ex-wife. The hypocrisy is stunning. Not only would this bill expand health coverage for veterans who served post 9/11, but the bill would also extend coverage to issues caused by Agent Orange during the Vietnam War. That's right, people. They're just getting around to helping soldiers who served in Vietnam. And the Republicans voted against it. Come on! So what's the downside? Well, the PACT Act would greatly expand eligibility for free medical care through the VA for thousands of veterans who've been exposed to toxic chemicals over the last couple of decades. Do you guys know this? Around 3.5 million post 9/11 soldiers have been exposed to dangerous chemicals while in the line of duty, using burn pits. They were burning the nastiest stuff ever created, excluding my ex-wife. These men and women did their jobs. They defended our freedom, put their lives on the line, and did what they were told to do. And these pasty-ass butt plugs who never served are just going to let our guys die. They could survive bombs, bullets, and war, but none of these brave men will survive Congress. Let me show you what a true American is and does.
If this is America first, then America is fucked.
That's who we all have to be for those who sacrifice for their country. Because if we don't, the next time we need some men and women to put their lives on the line in a foreign land, I want you to go, Bubba. I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. I don't get it. How do you vote against the troops? It's craziness to me. I mean, they're gonna die. They got cancer, and they just vote against them? You know what? Let's put you in the burn pit.
Housekeeping.
Hey everybody, Christopher Titus Podcast. I am currently in Columbus, Ohio, doing a remote version of the podcast, but with me as always, back in Los Angeles, at the home base, at Command Central, the lovely Rachel Bradley.
What's up, people?
And the Hylinder. There can be only one.
I said the Hylinder, man. This is,
you did?
You know what? We would suck.
Titus, you're breaking up. I can't hear you. Are you in a tunnel?
You know what? We can't hear you. We're going to let you go. Anyway.
Wow, I'm 30 seconds in and it's over. You can imagine if we were a news crew and I'm in Ukraine, that pretty much no one would know anything. So I want you to know, the Armageddon Update today was about the basically burn pit legislation, the PACT legislation that basically says that we are going to make sure all the troops that got exposed to any burn pits. And by the way, as I said in the Armageddon Update, it goes back to Vietnam and Agent Orange, and the Republicans voted against it. Like, I mean, why don't they just stab puppies? I don't quite understand why these guys are like. How do you still vote for a Republican?
Well, from what I understand, this was sort of like a retaliation for Joe Manchin.
Look who's been watching the news with Daddy.
That was a quick, easy one. I paid attention to the news.
He brought something in.
I'm a grown up.
well, I don't know. Yes, retaliation because
which is so petty and so
because
goddamn.
Democrats had to bring the reconciliation back in order to get one thing passed that's going to reduce carbon emissions by 40% by 2030. That's how pathetic we are. They had to trick them to pass something that might save the planet in about 10 years, maybe.
So did we have Joe Manchin wrong? Is he like Is he like a super secret ninja? Like
here's
trying to
what
keep
I
it
heard.
quiet
Yeah.
and then...
He's definitely not a ninja.
No.
But I heard that Schumer basically, after Joe Manchin bailed, because he basically milked them for 8 weeks. And then everybody was in. Bernie was in. AOC was in. Everybody's helping. And then Manchin said, I'm not voting for this after he made him work for 8 weeks. So I guess what happened that night or the next night is that Schumer went in. And I don't picture Schumer doing this. But whatever happens behind closed doors, I wonder if these guys motherfuck each other behind closed doors, because he went off. From the report is that he went off on Manchin and just basically called him every name in the book, called him un-American, he's basically playing politics. He's not helping the American people. Whatever happened, Schumer got him. And so those guys started working in like secret. So that's how bad our government is. Yeah. They can't even let out that they're still negotiating, because then the Republicans would have got involved.
They'll pile on and they'll try to get involved. Throw a wrench into it.
So they did it in secret. And then, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they have a deal that's not $2 trillion, but it's $700 billion. And like Ray said, it's going to and by the way, electric cars, guess what? You're going to get $7,500 back on any electric car you buy.
Oh, damn.
So, okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in it that's really cool. And then, great. So they were mad. So the Republicans who've done shitty stuff, like basically they made Obama lose his Supreme Court seat, and then they said because in the last year of a presidency you can't have a Supreme Court justice nominee, and then they put any crusty butt plug on in 6 weeks before he was done. They're like the shadiest conmen in the world, and they got out-grifted. I love it. I love it because I didn't think the Democrats had it in them. Yeah, I've been talking smack about the Democrats being weak, and I didn't think they had it in them.
Yeah. Well, it seems like so the Republicans will just do anything to sort of like keep a little bit of power, because if the Democrats get wins, right, then they feel like that their existence is just shrinking and shrinking until they go extinct. Right?
Schumer was on TV today talking about this, and he said, my father passed away a few months ago, and he told me, you have to be persistent. And I thought, his father? Like, how old was his father that he was alive a few months ago?
200.
Yeah, exactly.
That's baby blood right there. See? They're drinking baby blood.
Where am I supposed to?
He's a reptile.
Look at him there.
My father was part of the founding fathers originally, and he just died recently. How old?
He was a founding father.
So retaliation, we heard, because they're just mad.
They thought that the Build Back Better bill was dead, and Manchin, and they loved that Manchin had done that, and which is weird because I think Manchin's got to have a crisis of conscience at one point when you're like, all the Republicans like me better than my own party. I think at that point you should check yourself. Uh-huh. So I think and also I was watching on Twitter, man, and he was getting his ass handed to him daily. Nobody was going, good for you, Joe Manchin. They were just reaming him. And so if that's going countrywide, damn well in West Virginia that's happening. And West Virginia is not really killing it. He's not really the best senator. They're like 46th in healthcare, 48th in education, and 50th in job creation. So
that's last place. They're in last place in everything, right?
Yeah, because the coal jobs, they got those coal jobs from the 30s that they're still going after. So I think that what happened is that Manchin started to feel the heat, man. He started to feel something, he was hearing footsteps about his next election, and I think he finally did the right thing. Well, now we got Chris Cinema.
We know that the Republicans retaliated because it passed the House and the Senate, and then it passed everything that passed Park Place, and it passed, everything that it has to pass.
Collected $200. Yes, it did.
Yeah, get out of jail free. And then all at the last minute, right after this environmental bill passed.
Yeah, they changed the name of it. It's called it's the inflation, the lowering inflation legislation. They've changed the name.
Oh,
the old lower the inflation Ruski legislation.
They just changed the name.
Did you just say a Ruski?
They really think the American people are stupid. I guess they've been proven right.
This is so stupid, though, because it's not stupid. The right word is evil, because the Democrats are not the ones that are going to suffer. The Democrats are upset, but because they're human beings, it's the veterans that are going to suffer. So from the side, yet again, who backs the blue, supports the military, the same people who don't care about the cops from January 6th, are now screwing veterans. You know, my mom...
From Vietnam.
Yeah.
My mom, and she was not a veteran. She married a few.
A few. Married.
Sorry, Mom. But she's not here. I can say it out loud now. Still scared, not gonna lie. Still a little scared. My mom, I believe, and you brought this up last night or this morning. I don't know. We talked last night until, I don't know, we talked 2 hours before we went to bed last night on the phone.
We love each other.
We're so stupid.
So right before you showed up, right?
Exactly. That's why I was late, actually, because I was on the phone. My mom lived in Kuwait for many years. She was a professor at the American University, very sensitive immune system, or ecosystem, as she used to say. And from the time she got to Kuwait, she started having respiratory illness and was sick. Remember, she was sick and had a sinus infection every time she would come home, every time. And that went on for about 8 years.
Yeah, and by the time, and it's weird because by the time she was in LA after a month, she'd stay with us, she would be feeling better, and then she'd go back to Kuwait.
And get
because remember all what you're trying to talk about, Ray, is remember all when Saddam set fire to all the oil fields?
Yeah.
Well, all that ash ended up in the sand.
And also there are burn pits in Kuwait.
Right, still.
Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, and Qatar. Burn pits were operated at military bases, but also the burning off of the oil fields. And that's what they have said with a lot of soldiers they see first is respiratory illness. And then out of the blue, my mom got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4. We have no family history of it. We have no family history of cancer. It all began with my mom, and she was healthy before she went and not after being there for a while. And around that same time that she was there, remember I was researching this and there was a study done, some of the people that Randy knew, on 9 military officers, some from England, just from all over, that had been stationed there in Kuwait, and all 9 had died or were living with stage 4 cancer.
What bothers me most about it is that after what my cousin went through, and after and our niece now is in the military, it's really, and this goes back to the Civil War. Like, there's stuff, like, it seems like we all love the troops during war, man. Do we love them? When we send them over and we love them, and then it's over. Oh, it's over, guys. Go get in your wheelchairs and your walking sticks and go play the fife and the drum, and then we'll do a poster of you. But we don't help them. I mean, this bill is crazy to me because it's got Vietnam in it. We haven't helped them in Vietnam. Like, wait, when I read that this morning, I was writing there and get up there, I'm like, wait, we're still dealing with Agent Orange. We still haven't handled that.
They're still in line at the VA. They're still since that
it's
fucking
actually
68.
Civil War veterans are still like, hello, guys, hello.
They're still the guy. He's got that little drum and the thing on his head.
So they have Department of Defense has closed out most burn pits, is what their website says, and is planning to close the remainder as of May of this year. And then right below that, if you search that, is the military still using burn pits? Someone else Googled often enough for it to come up, can you burn poop in a fire? If you're wondering, yes, burn it.
It's burn shits, not burn pits.
Gas or electricity powered incinerating toilets fire up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, turning excrement into sterile ash.
Is this one of our new advertisers? Do we get? Hi, welcome to Power Toilet.
Organic methane is going to be.
You got to hook it up to water and propane.
These toilets are hotter, but they're less odorous than porta potties. So who knew that someone is out there trying to start a movement of poop burning toilets?
You just flush it, it's a flamethrower.
I could see why that might be a problem.
Don't use toilet paper. It's
and flammable. Don't courtesy flush while you're sitting. So yeah, they're not all closed yet. Afghanistan, Iraq, and Southwest Asia still has some.
You know, it's weird how we all support the troops, and supposedly the military is supposed to take care of them. These guys are making the ultimate sacrifice. And yet it seems every time they can, the military comes up with the lowest tech, lowest level bullshit thing when it comes to dealing with the troops.
Well, they only really care about the troops to get them into the war so that we can get the money train rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that they're expendable. I mean, we have family in the military, and I think that's when one of our family members kind of quit. They had trained him to the highest level, and then he had something bad happen, and it messed with him. I mean, we're not even talking. We're just talking about the chemical stuff. We're not talking about all the psychological stuff these guys deal with.
Yep.
And we don't even deal with. I mean, what is it? One in every, what was it? 23 seconds or something? A veteran.
Yeah, 22 a day. 22 a day. Veterans are killing themselves.
It's an insane number of veterans that kill themselves or attempt to kill themselves, and a large percentage of the homeless population
are veterans.
Right.
Because
you think we can help that out?
But they can't mentally cope. They come back from there. I mean, my dad told us about that once in my life. He spoke about what happened to him. It was with you. It was the oddest breakfast in Nashville after shows, where my dad, who doesn't cry, started crying and told us the story. But he has talked about that, we throw these kids, if you think about it, they're little kids, basically. My niece is 19. Well, she just turned 20, but she's like eating paste 5 years ago.
Yep.
She was slow. And they are in this war zone, fight or flight nonstop, being shot at, being bombed, and then we're just like, okay, go back to your life now.
Yep.
And their brains cannot make that adjustment from a war zone to normal life. And we don't have transitional programs or mental health programs or anything like that.
But what we do have is we have a yellow ribbon sticker on the back window of our car, and that helps them tremendously.
That
we have
helps
merch.
us get out of
we have merch. I love the troops merch. So the reason I kind of wrote this today is after watching Jon Stewart, who is an American hero. Jon Stewart, I don't know Jon Stewart, but all the way back to Daily Show, Jon Stewart is an American hero.
Yeah.
So I was watching him last night, and he lost his shit on TV. He was outside Congress. Because, by the way, this isn't a bill that's controversial. They'd already passed it.
Right.
They'd already had a vote on it.
They were just doing the official vote.
It was one thing. There was one sentence they said that was meant. They were trying to open. Here's the problem. They were trying to open up rural hospitals so these veterans that live out in the rural areas didn't have to drive 200 miles to get their medical treatment. They could use a normal local urgent care, and it would be covered by the VA. That was one of the things. So Tom Cotton or one of these other douchebags said, well, constitutionally, you can't force hospitals to pay for the veteran federal blah, blah. And so they took that line out. They left the line in. That was one line. So basically, they just said veterans can now be taken care of at the local at Dr. Phil down the street. Not Dr. Phil. Don't go to Dr. Phil
or Oz. Neither.
What was it, Doctor in Mayberry? Do we remember? Is there a doctor?
Was that a TV show?
Floyd the dentist. Oh, you were in Iraq. Andy, he was in Iraq. Oh.
Shout out to all the 65-years that go that.
You remember Floyd from Mayberry?
It sounded like
Floyd was the
Murgatroyd.
creepiest guy in the world. Oh, Andy, Bonnie came in. I got to fix it.
I think that was a show.
Jon Stewart said yesterday, he gave a speech outside. I think he said fuck and shit.
Repeatedly.
He was so upset. And at Pat Toomey, who's the one that held it up, Republican from Pennsylvania. He said, I was ready for, he listed a bunch of things. I was ready for the fight. I was ready for this. What I wasn't ready for was the cruelty. And it's so true. I love Jon Stewart. He is a national treasure. He as recently as April last year said, I called Tucker Carlson a dick on national television, and it's time I apologize to dicks. I never should have lumped you in with that terrible, terrible person. I love Jon Stewart.
And by the way, my penis thanks him.
I looked up what is burn pit syndrome, and it does initially affect people's lung health, immediate effects, coughing, throat discomfort, difficulty breathing, similar things that happened after 9/11, which was when Jon Stewart really got involved with this, also trying to fight for the first responders from 9/11. And
he did. Jon Stewart was really instrumental in getting some of the legislation that did pass for the 9/11 guys through, and then he got involved with veterans.
Yes, and then
it's a whole cocktail of chemicals.
That inflammation leads to various types of cancer, and there's so many incidences, like family that were there yesterday for the passing supposedly of that bill, who's like a guy who was a badass military guy, was training for a marathon at 42, felt bad, collapsed, got diagnosed with lung cancer that had spread to his bones, and they gave him 4 to 8 weeks to live. That was it. But right below what is burn pit syndrome, which is right below can you burn poop in a fire, is is poop edible for humans? And I think this is the problem with our country.
This is how bad inflation is.
Well, you know why? Because our dog eats it, and so we're like, he seems to like. I'm not.
According to the Illinois Poison Center, poop is minimally toxic when eaten by a human. But it's not meant to be ingested in your mouth. So don't do that.
I'd like to say I think we've come full circle where I'm telling people, please don't eat your own poop. You see where we are as America right now?
Hit the bottom.
Right. Listen, if we can do one public service announcement in all the 12 years we've done this, don't eat your own poop.
I love Google because you search something and then all the other popular, lots of things that are relevant to me putting in burn pits. Did Vietnam burn pits? Is sleep apnea linked to burn pits? Can burn pit cause COPD? Can you poop out of your mouth? Why?
Wait, how does that work?
Oh, the answer is it's possible to poop out of your mouth. When people have a blockage in their small or large intestine, known as an intestinal obstruction, waste can't travel to the rectum. Listen, if you're Googling, can this happen? Just go to the hospital.
Well, you can't. You're a vet, so you can.
Yeah, you're right. You're a veteran. You can't go. Guess I'm gonna have to poop out of my mouth. Still not as bad as the food I had to eat in the service.
My father is a veteran from Vietnam, Marine officer, and when he needs doctor's appointments, which is a lot now, he's turning 80 in September, and he has to wait for the VA to approve whatever he's asking for and then assign him to whomever it is he has to go see. So when I'm like, Dad, you need to go. I think he might have early Parkinson's. I'm trying to get him in with a neurologist. It's been 4 months now. He's waiting on the approval, and he's 100% disabled. He carries 100% disability, and he can't get in because then the people that they approved are on a backlog of like 6 months.
Can I say something about this? I don't understand why our troops don't have the exact same access to healthcare as fucking Congress does. Those guys.
If anybody should have it, it would be the vets too.
They should have better than Congress, and they don't. It's amazing the steps they have to go through. And here's the thing. Are you questioning the guys that went and basically got their asses in front of bullets and bombs? You're questioning, what are they trying to pull a scam on you now that they came back and they're sick as a dog? Like, I don't get it. Why the first people, the best healthcare on the planet should be guys who put their lives on the line for this country. They should 100% have the best healthcare. I totally agree with that. And we can't even get the guys from Vietnam to get the Agent Orange treatment they need. Our Congress, Republicans specifically, are by far the worst group of humps that have been in my entire life. When I was a kid even, man, I knew there's always been shit through history. But these guys, you know why? It's because of social media and what we're doing right now. Everybody's a fucking influencer star. Everyone's getting famous, and that's the biggest drug of all. You think power's a drug? Get famous. It's insane. It's insane.
For them to be so detached from human beings, right? To in order to just go, they don't need it, and just let them die, like there after it's been passed, it already went through. They could have got out in front of it and like kind of claimed the victory if it's all about like optics or whatever, and could have said, we agreed and we made some changes, so now it's passed. They could have fucking said that. But they just shut it down
He's
instead?
being a baby. He's mad. They're mad. Pat Toomey, I'll tell you why he voted against it is because he's not a veteran. And that's what you see all the time. You know, Adam Kinzinger is a veteran. So you see which is why he's on the J6 committee. You see a different sensibility and compassion and caring for what those men and women go through. Pat Toomey was a Wall Street banker is what he did before. So it makes sense now. Also, to the people that right below that on Google wanted to know if girls poop, the question is no. The answer is no. That's all I have to say.
Girls, I by the way, can confirm.
The question is
well,
I live with a girl.
The one that I did pooped a lot, so maybe that's different.
Yeah,
is that
it's
different?
not the same.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And you can pee out poop, which was another question. This is all I searched was...
What? You can pee out poop?
What
is going on? Why does that sound like a Pink Floyd lyric?
So it's welcome to the dark side of the moon.
If you have and actually, if you sing that while you watch Wizard of Oz,
it syncs up perfectly to the Tin Man's ass.
A fistula is an abnormal hole in the bowel or bladder, so that's what could cause leakage for you to pee out poop. And if you're Googling it, just go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Please.
But by the way, what we're talking about, there's going to be a lot of freaks from porn sites now watching our podcast. What we're talking about. These psycho.
Literally, search.
Quit being weird.
I put in Kuwait burn pits, and these are all the questions and answers underneath it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
By the way, if this world is getting you down, this episode brought to you by Feels CBD oil.
Yes.
Premium CBD oil. If you're having anxiety, stress, sleepless nights, you definitely could benefit from CBD. Last night, I couldn't sleep after we got off the phone for the 17,000th time yesterday. And I actually thought about calling you back. And then instead, I just took Feels. And I did fall asleep, which is amazing to me when products work. When products do what they say they're going to do, I'm like, oh, wow, that's amazing. It just calmed me down. It wasn't like a crazy noticeable thing. I just got calmer and fell asleep, which is what we all need right now.
Yeah, your brain, it slows your brain down a little bit, which is good. It just makes you not think as hard. I use it what I notice is when I do it in the morning and I get in the car and drive to work, that I'm not as screamy. Not as screamy. I don't do a lot of, what the fuck is this guy? I don't do that a lot as much. I still do it, but it's like, whoa, that guy's a jerk.
It helps to clear your head too.
Yep.
It helps with aches and pains. Like if you have that, I use this when my mom was sick. I used this for her. It helped her sleep. That was the major thing. Also, like with anxiety when she was going for chemo and stuff like that, you just put it under your tongue, a couple drops, you feel the difference within minutes. The other great thing is that it's delivered to your doorstep, so you don't have to leave and talk to people to get it. But if you want to talk to people, they have a free hotline that you can call just to ask them any questions that you have. So start feeling better today with Feels. You can become a member today if you go to feels.com/Titus, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/Titus to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feals.com/Titus. It's a great product. And more needed now more than ever, I think. A lot of our advertisers, like I know Liquid IV donates free Liquid IV to first responders. Harry's supports men's mental health. So there are a lot of the companies that we work with do step up and do things for that.
But isn't it sad that the government that actually wanted them to go to war and put their lives on the line can't seem to find the time to back them up? Yet Harry's and our Liquid IV can do it. The sad thing is that our private sector does what it can to help the troops. Not all of it, but a lot of them do it. And maybe if we can all get it together, like Ken said, gas everything, maybe they could save enough money where they could pay for their own health care, because the government seems to want to fuck them over all the time. I'm getting tired of this, guys. Since 2016, man, we have lived, it's been 6 years now, we've lived in a bit of a crazy time. But this VA thing has been going on forever, since I was a kid. I'm always hearing that the veterans are screwed over. That's got to stop. We have enough, if we have enough money to build the bombs to invade countries, we have enough money to actually help these guys that are doing that for us.
Oh, our budget is like what, 1,000 times the largest.
More, our biggest military, our military is 26 times bigger than, I guess, the next, or 3 times as big as the next 10.
So why don't we go, okay, let's go 25 times bigger, and then give that little chunk to the vets.
The Vietnam vets. Can we help the Vietnam vets? Jesus.
Jon Stewart said, once again,
Spanish-American war guys?
It's the same old story. Always money for war. Always want to balance the budget on the backs of sick veterans. And now it's even more despicable because having passed the act, giving great hope to the families of wounded veterans and their caregivers that are suffering from this without health care and benefits that they've earned, it's being held up again.
Well, that's why I put Stewart's speech in the Armageddon update. He got on Fox and just ripped them. He basically trolled. Jon Stewart is awesome. The great thing about comedians is at one point, our whole job is to be honest, to be authentic, and Jon Stewart has nailed that. We used to, Ray and I used to come home and watch The Daily Show when Jon was on it. We never, ever missed it.
Do you remember when he was leaving as Trump was running or got elected, and we were like, no, you can't, not now.
Right.
Yeah, we need you more than ever.
Yeah.
Are you being Trevor Noah?
No, Trevor's great, but there's something that Jon Stewart created something. It was a moment in time. But what he was saying on Fox, he trolled Fox all day. He kept saying, my people talking to Fox, they won't have me on. And he was on all the other news channels saying that. And finally they put him on. And he went after Toomey pretty hard. And the guy tried his best to save it. But if we can't help these guys, what are we doing? That's what he kind of said. He goes, what are we doing? If the guys that we hold up as the bastions of freedom that protect our democracy, and we can't even fucking get them to the doctor. What is wrong with us?
Well, Senator Toomey's office is saying that, as currently written, the PACT Act includes a budget gimmick that will allow Democrats to increase spending totally unrelated to veterans by $400 billion over the next 10 years. Senator Toomey's technical fix would prevent this unrelated spending. The interesting thing is that he voted for it a couple of weeks ago. It passed like 86-14 or something like that. I mean, it was a largely bipartisan.
But isn't that just a dedicated amount that still goes to the vets? It still has to get voted on. So it's just like an amount, it's like an X factor. We need a little bit of a buffer.
They're citing a provision. This was the only change. Jon Stewart yelled about this too. That was added right before the debate of the bill on the Senate floor, which stated that any discretionary budget funds related to burn pits could become classified as mandatory spending.
But by the way, here's the thing. I'm fine with veterans. We need mandatory spending for the veterans.
Yes.
We need it. Like, guess what we're going to have till they all die? Veterans. And we're America. We're going to war again.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have more. So I think the one thing we should not be fucking with is the people that defended this country. They should always have this much money. And if we have extra, let's make the hospitals better. If we have extra, let's make sure that they're all dealt with, that they have the best care they can possibly get. And by the way, to be that cynical, to go, you know what, they're going to have $400 million that they can use for other vet spending. What are you talking about?
Right. It was already, you approved it a month ago already.
Right.
You conveniently changed your vote right after they just passed.
Now that part's a problem?
Yeah.
Liars.
This is oddly parallel to the terminal list, which I have completed. Watching.
Oh, damn it.
Well, you only missed part of the final episode, I think.
All right, well, I'm going to watch it tonight.
But I haven't read the books, and so I kept thinking that... Have you watched it?
Yeah, it's good.
It's great, but every episode you think, this has got to be the final episode, for good.
Oh, right.
They can't have a season 2. This can't, right?
Yeah.
And
wait, there's going to be a season 2?
Yes.
Wow, Chris Pratt's great in it. He's really good.
Because apparently... in the books, that's what the guy does. I think he goes on and becomes sort of a vigilante. I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but
if you've seen one episode, you know that's what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay. So
I know, but you don't necessarily know. But it is linked to Department of Defense hurting soldiers experimenting on them and then going, oopsie, and trying to cover it up. I mean, that's what made me think of it. Look at me with a relevant TV reference. Hey, it's not a movie, but it's close enough.
It's a little gun porny, but
yeah.
I get it. The character would be that.
No,
yeah.
All right.
Some of the shots are like...
I want you guys to know there's a couple people in Congress that you watch them when they talk and you think they're good people. I think Kinzinger, whether I disagree with him with his views or whatever, Eric Swalwell, there's a few guys that they come correct. They talk good shit when they need to, and you get that they're just on the side of right.
And women,
but it's not hard to be on the side of right. I don't understand.
Katie Porter.
You what?
You said guys. I'm listing some women now. Katie Porter. Every time she whips out the whiteboard, I'm like...
I was using the humans. I was using the... Oh, come on. I wasn't trying to... Katie Porter is awesome. There's a whole bunch of them that are good people. And I want to point this out. It's mostly on the Democratic side. Yeah. People always say, stay in your lane. Well, my lane is like good doing what's best for everybody in America. And then we sit there on this podcast and we talk as much shit as we do. We're not doing it because we're trying to get people screwed over. And I don't understand, how do you continue to vote for guys that suck this bad?
Our lane literally is, as comedians, to talk too much and too long after about half of the audience doesn't want to hear it anymore. Friday second show. This is actually what we do for a living. So we're in our lane.
Uncover every
here's my opinion on everything you don't really want to hear about, and I'm going to try and yell over your conversations and your cracking crab claws if I'm in Florida and Naples.
That happened last night here in Columbus. It was a table of 3 women that
eating fucking lobster in the show.
No. Here's what happened. They were obviously they were women like your ex-wife. And they were getting a little offended by the new show because it's dark about the family and my sister's suicide. And at one point, they were obviously cheap, and they were at the front table off to the left, and there was a conversation that lasted about 5 minutes of my act, where they were discussing splitting the bill. They were figuring out who had what.
Oh, man.
Just shut up and pay the bill.
I'll
Figure it out later.
take the bill with my friends.
Yeah,
or Jen will take the bill. I used to hang out with a girl who's married to a well-off comedian, and she would be like, you had 1 cheese stick. I only had half. And I'm like, okay. You know what I just remembered? Last time we were in Columbus, I was there with him. And on the front row during your show, I think it was Friday second show, someone had pizza delivered from another place. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a couple. Yeah, that was a while back.
Was it the
we were actually stunned. We were like, the whole audience was like, what an asshole. Like, the whole audience was mad at this dude.
He told you that they were going to close, and he didn't want to miss your show. And so he had pizza delivered. That was amazing.
All right.
To his credit, he didn't open it at the show. I don't think he ate it at the show.
No, he just wanted to take it home because he was drunk. I get it.
Hey, DoorDash. Yeah, no, I'm in the club, front row. Yeah, delivered to the front row. You got to come inside to the Funny Bone. I'm in the front row. Oh, yeah, I'm the guy with the hat.
Speaking of things you want to eat, this episode brought to you by Butcher Box, another excellent company. We are leaving for Scotland on Monday, so we are going to have to pause our Butcher Box. We're going to have to pause everything, which is kind of weird. I love this company. It simplifies everything. It makes your eating more creative and, for me, more clean. Helps me to try different types of meat that I've never tried, including seafood, and then plan a healthy meal around that. It also helps me not have to leave my house, which I love.
You hate leaving the house.
Hate it. They deliver it to you, and so you can choose your own box, or they have already curated boxes for you, so you can just click on one and move on, or you can drag and drop stuff into the box. And I recommend doing that because it changes. Right? They have different stuff.
You get the good stuff. Yeah, make sure you get on the website repeatedly, guys. Once you get your subscription, go on so you can change it up and get the good stuff before it gets taken. It's all good stuff, but sometimes there's lobster, sometimes there's like salmon, scallops.
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 Scallops. Okay.
It's an A. There's no O. It's
How
not
do you
scallops.
say the word TALL?
Different word.
It's TALL. Tall.
How do you say CALL?
Call.
Another different word.
How do you say SCALLOP?
How do you say
But
Wednesday?
I also say tallops and callops. I don't say.
What's a tallop?
Is that a flower? Just made that
Those
up.
little flowers. Yeah, those little flowers. Finish the ad, for God's sake.
Anyway, they don't have antibiotics, no added hormones. This is why I love it. 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. So you're going to spend, the value's stupid, you're going to spend less than $6 per meal on average.
And everything you've cooked has been excellent.
It's noticeably better.
And the stuff I grill, yeah, it's noticeable. Yeah.
You always say, is this Butcher Box? Like whenever you eat something, because you can tell that it tastes cleaner. So you can get your summer sizzling started, baby, with this special Butcher Box deal. You get free bacon for the life of your membership plus $100 off. So this is a new deal. I've never seen this one. Yeah. Sign up today at butcherbox.com/Titus. Use code bonus100 to get 1 pack of free bacon in every box for the life of your membership plus $100 off your first order. That's butcherbox.com/Titus. Use code bonus100 to claim that deal. That is probably the best deal we've ever seen. That's crazy.
Wow, that's like you could call the Senate the Bone Us 100. Ha, boom. All right.
No.
Just that's how you
I don't
remember
know
it.
if that counts as a segue, but okay. How was your show last night?
Show was good. I've got to cut a lot of stuff out for Scotland. So after I get done with the podcast, I'm going to sit down with my computer and do that. It was good. It's midsummer. These are the dog days of summer. But the audience was good and smart. And I get off stage, and some guy just stopped me as I'm walking off stage, and he was sitting in as you go down the steps, he was there, and he stopped me and he grabbed me, and he said, "Thank you for this show."
Wow.
And I, because I talk about my sister's suicide, I think whatever I was doing there, I think it was that feeling I got from him was like something had happened in his life, or all those things that happened. Like, this show's relentless. People, come see this show in Scotland. It is, every time I do it, I keep thinking, man, did I really live all this stuff? How did I end up not killing a whole bunch of people? And then I realize it's because of comedy. And I get to be a psycho on stage.
You're giving that gift to other people too. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, in the meantime, it's 100,000 degrees where you are. And, we have floods going on right now in places where we don't usually have floods.
Las Vegas, right?
Kentucky is flooded.
Yeah, don't look. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. There's no climate change.
People are currently, right now, trapped in their homes. 16 people dead.
Nothing to see here.
What? Oh, shit.
They can't get to the people yet. One guy on the news today was saying that his house was on a hill, and in the video, the house is underwater. So he's saying about 24 feet. But he's also from Kentucky, so he was like, about 10 pounds to me.
You could have said 4. You could have said
Hey.
wow.
Anyway, you can tell I'm from the South because I felt that.
Nailed it.
I was like, oh, that's my
There is a
family.
cadence, man. There is a cadence. And my kids.
Also, Las Vegas and New Mexico have declared a state of emergency because they say that they have less than 50 days left of clean water.
So it's flooding in the desert now.
They have fires, yeah. And the ash got into their water supply, so they don't have clean water. Kentucky's underwater. California is on fire in the worst drought I've ever seen. Everywhere is brown. Everything is dead.
Well, we've been on fire for about 9 years now. I mean, really consistently. I don't think they ever go out. What bothers me at this point is there's still why aren't we just fired up about climate change? Is it because it's going to take too long to fix it? Because the bill they passed yesterday, like you said, will reduce carbon emissions by 40% by 2030. That's 8 years from now. That's not that far. That's awesome. So we could do it, but we need a moonshot, man. We need like a full-on, no bullshit moonshot. Now that I can buy a new electric car because I'm going to get $7,500 off. Boom.
Nice.
San Francisco this is why you need feels. San Francisco declared, and New York City, but San Fran first, declared monkeypox a national health emergency.
No.
Yep. And then they showed video of it up close, which I didn't need to see this morning.
By the way, again, my most hated word, you always ask me I know what your most hated word is. I'm not going to say it. Mine is pustule.
Yeah.
They've been saying that all the time. I'm like, that's it. That's the word.
Thanks.
And
I've never heard that before. And
actually,
now,
if you combine my word with that word, I'm done.
You have Steve Bannon.
I'm under the table. The M.
Moist pustule?
Because it would be, you know why? Because it would ooze and seep.
Oh, ooze is this is my second worst word.
Other thing that I don't like is when they say weep or seep about like.
Yeah, weeping pustule is weeping pustule.
So we've got that going on with monkeypox. I don't think that there's any better time for us. You're blinking today. He's not happy about the world. This is why he doesn't watch the news, because we ruin his life for 1 hour a week and he needs to go recover. We're leaving the country on Monday, which I am a hot mess about. I'm the one that on my Girl Scout overnights would find the phone in the camp house front office thing. I'd wake the lady up
to call home
and make my dad come get me. I'm still that girl. I was talking to my dad about that yesterday, and he was like, "Well, yep, you are." I don't like it.
But it's weird. I've never seen someone take on anxiety the way you do. She lays in bed before she has her feels, and just her mind starts to crank, and then it goes down the darkest fucking road it can find through the woods with the scary trees, and then you start. And I'm trying to sleep next to her, and I can feel it. Yeah. Like
it's like those old typewriters. Shing. It's like I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah.
Why don't you feel like, it's an adventure? It's got a time limit, right? So it's like a new experience.
Oh no, I'm stoked. I am so excited. I'm also recognizing that if the shows don't go well, that's a long freaking month.
Yeah, it's a long time to suck. 30 days is a long time to suck.
Because anywhere else we are, if the shows suck or we don't like the room or the people are really rednecky or, like remind me of some of my family. 2 days, we're out.
You
bitches.
Go home, regroup.
Yep.
You got another different place to go.
It's okay. Next week we go to Denver or whatever. Yeah. But this is Hannibal Buress actually did a story about how much he hated the Fringe Festival.
Oh, did he?
I don't know if he hated it. There was some stuff in the bit that he was like, it wasn't his favorite thing in the world. And here's the problem. The Scottish people aren't known for their holding back. So if we're sucking for a week, about week 2, it's going to get around. There's the unfunny Americans. How's it going? It's just going to be a nightmare.
It's more like trying to get ready to go. He's gone. So getting the dogs need 10,000 things of paperwork, and it's this has to be done within 10 days.
Yep.
USDA so you're dealing with a government agency, has to emboss and sign something within 10 days of your arrival, but then you have to get a deworming done within 5 days, but that deworming needs to be on that form.
McConnell's got to sign off on it.
Wait,
yes. So, and the dogs have to be proven that they didn't plan 9/11. It's crazy. Stuff.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of shite. And I guess I better learn my show at some point. So that's another thing.
I feel like
you said you were going to rehearse yesterday, did you?
I did.
You did?
Fox is slowly turning on Trump. I'm just hitting all the highlights because there's so much going on.
I watched.
Yeah, so Trump is melting down in his truths and stuff. They canceled a Trump speech for their new GOP love interest, DeSantis.
Yep. They didn't cancel it. They just refused to cover his rally. They would not show.
They didn't cancel.
Fox did not run the rally, and instead they did a 17-minute piece about DeSantis. So it's funny. It's funny how transparent Fox is. There was I was watching MSNBC, and Hady Masson, I don't even pronounce his name. He showed the clip in slow-mo. Hady Masson. He showed the clip of the 3 Fox guys sitting there.
Say it. Mehdi.
Oh, Mehdi Hassan. I think it's HED. It's Mehdi. That's right. Mehdi Hassan. So he goes, watch this. And they slowed it down. And as one of the reporters talks about, he actually brought up that Trump's poll numbers are dropping. That he said a month ago, Trump was at 55%. Now he's at 45%. And DeSantis is at 52%. The guy on his far left, on the other side of the woman who's in the middle, they slowed it down, and the guy does this. He goes, as he's giving the poll numbers on Trump, the guy just goes, he goes from this. And they slowed it down. It was awesome. Like, wow, you can't be in too deep with Trump, man.
That's awesome. Well, I think it's a good thing if Fox is starting, although I was telling him last night that DeSantis is not better. He's actually, and I was searching for a word. He's more, and Titus said diabolical, and I said, yes, just as evil, but more diabolical.
And he's younger, so he'll be around longer.
Yeah, but he went to Harvard. He's not he's an evil idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's evil, but not an idiot. Right. Trump's an evil idiot. And so man, again, if the Democrats don't just make a list of all the shit the Republicans have done in the last 3 months, from Roe to troops to voting rights, to like you can sue someone who has an abortion now. If they don't just make a list and Democrats just don't start pounding out that list, they deserve to lose.
And now this vet bill, man.
And I know it's how do you not just hold those guys up? You know what it is? Again, it goes back to the arrogance of like, well, of course everybody hates that. We're going to win because no, you have to pound it in people's brains who these guys are.
And that's all Fox does. Fox just attacks the Democrats. And
Hunter Biden's not involved in anything. He's not part of the government. There's no laptop. They can't find it. And everybody still believes that Hunter Biden, for some reason, is the shadow president and has a laptop that's got the worst secrets, that's literally got all the evil from the Harry Potter movies in it. I don't know what they think he's doing. But it's just the
thing being that we are more than willing to say that, yes, maybe Hunter Biden has done something wrong, but he's not in office. Yeah. So when people in my family say to me, well, how do you feel about Hunter Biden's blah, blah, blah? And I have to, I'm so glad he's not in office. Yeah. Well, you guys talk about Jared and Ivanka. They were in office.
They were governing. We care about the government.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Who gives a shit what he's doing? I don't care.
Is not now, if they linked something that he did to Joe Biden, that's something different. But right now, it's just all about Hunter Biden because they're mad that people dug up stuff on Ivanka and Eric and dipshit. But
let's be clear, those guys they were in the White House.
Yeah,
they didn't divest their companies. They made $640 million in 4 years. Do you understand how much money that is?
And then he signed a $2 billion deal with Saudi right after he left office, where he was when January 6th happened. He was flying home from there doing some last minute negotiations alone.
And he had top secret clearance. What did he tell the Saudis?
They shouldn't have been in the White House from the get-go.
Right.
Like right there.
Right. My kids are going to run shit. I'm sorry. There's a law about that. Yeah. There's not? What? Right. How do we miss that? Because no one in the past was that ballsy to think that they can just bring their family in. Mm-hmm. You know? You're not opening a Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise. It's the government, for God's sake.
This is a fucking mom and pop operation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my mom and the boys are going to run the country. I'm sorry. I'll do what I can. I'll do everything I can.
You guys got to go look up pictures of Trump from the Saudi golf tournament that he held at his New Jersey golf course. Man. He did not wear makeup. He was not airbrushed because he's wearing a bra. He's wearing his
but he's wearing a diaper.
His Spanx. I sent Titus pictures. I was in bed last night hysterically laughing, and he said, that's my favorite laugh. He goes, you have different laughs. That's the evil laugh. There are some side shots, and baby got back. It is this massive, rounded, we were laughing. But you can't get airbrushed in this heat due to climate change that he denies. So he doesn't get his makeup done because he's wearing a white polo. And it would literally, have
the polo
drips.
would be orange. Yeah.
It is shocking what he looks like.
The difference.
I mean, I'm not saying he's Casanova with makeup on, but wow.
Yeah, he looks. Bring up one of the pictures. We'll put it on the screen when we edit this. But I'll be honest with you, man.
Wow. He looks really
way
unwell.
worse than Biden does. I mean, in Biden's result, I mean, without makeup on, which is the weirdest thing to say about a grown-ass man who was president. Without makeup on, he looks like the Crypt Keeper, man. It's so old.
Jesus Christ. Well, he's been eating fucking French fries and,
Yeah, but look at his
urine.
But his body's fat, but his face is just sucking in, man. It's like his skull is eating his face. It's the weirdest thing.
Oh, he's a Sith Lord now. He's unwell.
He looks unwell. And then there were pictures of him right after eating a hamburger. And I thought, well, yeah, of course. I mean, his coloring is really bad. I mean, in a serious
He's turning into Steve Bannon.
Really unhealthy. Yeah. Yes, it looks really. I was like, wow.
But all of those guys, man. None of those guys. There's no like healthy, calm looking. Think about the Republicans. Go through them from Grassley all the way down to McConnell and in between. Susan Collins. They just don't look healthy. Why?
Nancy
what is
Pelosi.
that?
What is she doing with her lip?
I don't know. She's got to stop doing it.
Stop doing your lip.
Maybe they're missing. I don't know.
You watch
How about this?
yourself
when you're
on
90.
TV.
When you're 90, you don't get to be in Congress anymore. How about that? When
Chuck Grassley will be 94 or 95, depending on when his birthday is, if he wins this election.
And yet they have the balls to say that Biden's old, but you're not voting Grassley out. I don't, man. The hypocrisy.
Well, your balls do get bigger as you get older, I feel
and Orange McFaddy, they're 2 years apart. And the Republicans' whole stance right now is how old Biden is. And I'm like, but meh. Trump his attorneys have sent a 282-page letter. How much do you think that cost?
Wow.
To CNN executives, demanding that they retract or correct statements and articles about him going back to 2016.
About the stop the steal stuff.
Numerous examples cited in the letter. Many relate to Trump's conviction that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from him, which there is no evidence.
You know what's great though? Here's how dumb these guys are. Well, when you file a case, you get to go for discovery, right? Mm-hmm. So all they have to do is go, okay, if it's slander, please give us the information that the election was stolen.
Yeah.
And Rudy, stop farting. God, that doesn't count. You farting in court is not evidence, Rudy. So he makes it worse. I tweeted this out yesterday. The dude just keeps making it worse. So now you're going to sue CNN for what reason? You've had no evidence. Bill Barr. I mean, just imagine that court case where they basically just run a list of Republicans saying that the election wasn't stolen. People that were in the administration. Imagine how lame that court case is. It's actually lamer than some of my ex-wife's court cases.
The writ of flatulence. Stamp filed.
Isn't the RNC aren't they paying?
The writ of flatulence. You made a fart joke with legal language. I love that. That's awesome.
In Ray. Case of flatulence. Shakira, prosecutors in Spain are seeking 8 years in prison for Shakira.
Wait, Shakira the singer?
Yeah.
Shakira
is what?
The singer? Shakira
Gotta
dancer?
pay your taxes. Turns out.
Uh-oh, she's on the Wesley Snipes thing, man. Didn't Wesley do like 6 years and shit?
Yeah.
Snipes did a long time.
Trump is now arguing he's entitled to immunity from January 6 civil lawsuits because, a lot of the Capitol police officers are suing him in civil lawsuits that have been allowed to move forward recently. They're trying to hold him accountable financially.
Because when you didn't do anything, you want immunity.
He just got denied his request to dismiss the case.
Wow.
He's saying he should have immunity from any cases surrounding January 6th.
So we can't do that because then we're just a monarchy. Then the one thing the founding fathers said that we don't want this to be. We are not a monarchy. There is no king. Right. And when you start saying that the president has immunity from any bullshit he does, that's just a king.
That's basically it.
So Trump needs to go to make the country right. And there's going to be some people that are pissed about it. If you committed a crime, because if any one of the three of us committed a crime, we're doing time.
Yep.
We're doing time. Unless I use my contacts in Congress. But that's what I'm saying is that you shouldn't. That no one has. If you keep saying, if our entire country is built on no one's above the law, and then we put the guy in charge above the law, we're just bullshit, and that's got to stop. I think it's what Jon Stewart was saying, and I think we're gonna end this podcast with the 2 minutes of Jon Stewart talking about our troops in the burn pits. We'll put that up at the end because we better start doing the right thing again. People, if we don't start acting like who we say we are, whether it's in the Constitution or what we say to each other, yeah, we're the greatest country in the world. Nah, not right now. We're not. I agree we have been, but right now we're literally a worldwide laughingstock. Literally, I was talking to people from Scotland on Twitter, and we were talking about the guns and stuff, and they were all kind of saying that you guys are a joke.
Yeah, you
guys are a joke.
Yeah,
and so we got to fix that. And
Israel has free access to abortion. Israel, where a lot of Jewish people are.
They're very strict about.
Yeah. Japan has like some of the best healthcare in the world. Australia, and we just look like morons. And then Alito is in England speaking, and he made jokes about it that the world shouldn't get involved in our business. We got to stop, man. So everybody,
as we get involved in all their businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to attack your country and invade you, but don't bring up anything about it.
We're going to put a base here, but
this podcast is coming out on our first week in Scotland, so we should say that's why we recorded this a few days early, because we're going to be traveling and we know we're most likely going to be crying in the fetal position that first week. So
no, they're going to. Everybody, here's what I've heard about the Fringe Fest. Everybody's really nice. The audiences are incredibly polite. I did hear this from somebody I talked to today, that everybody in Scotland right now is trying to break away from the UK because they want to be part of the Union, the European Union. This Brexit thing was a clusterfuck.
I told you that.
So yeah, you told me that. Well, the guy I talked to today told me that. I'm not going to tell you who it was because I got a weird phone call today, people. We'll talk about it in one day.
Scottish nationalism, very important. And I was trying to school him on geography and the like so that he didn't offend anyone.
Don't do this.
When we got there, because he didn't know a lot of important landmass things.
There's a bridge, right? Because I said, well, if we have a problem with the dogs, because the dogs literally are being treated like they are on a terrorist watch list. That's how the dogs are being treated.
Like contraband.
What we have to get ready. So I said, what we can do. She goes, well, I'm just going to take a Eurail to France, and I go, yeah, and then we'll rent a car and we'll drive into Scotland. And she goes, over the water, and I'm like, oh, I'm not a geography major.
Well, you could technically on a bridge or such. There is a Eurail too, but he didn't know that they were separate.
Oh,
I knew it was an island-ish. There was
not anymore.
Water.
He said that. He goes, so it's like a legit island? Like, I was like, okay.
Well, climate change, it's not an island anymore.
So what I was trying to tell him was that they are not English. So don't refer, because they will be very offended by that. That's like people coming here and calling us Mexicans.
They've had wars about that.
Or Canadians.
Yeah, but you know what? I've never thought of Scotland is with its culture. I mean, their sport is they get a 30-foot pole and try to throw it. I mean, they've always kind of been on their own thing. The Highland Games are pretty insane.
Yeah.
And we should do the Highlander Games. Figure out. So I think Scotland. I've never really thought of Scotland as an English.
They're not.
It is,
not
but they're always so specifically Scottish that I'll give Scottish its own thing.
Well, we did both with Mom that one year. We landed in London and then took the coastal train up to Edinburgh, and it was distinctly different. And Scotland was our favorite. It was probably our favorite place we've ever been.
Yeah.
Just want to say that loudly if anyone's watching.
So guys, I want to thank you for watching and listening. But before we go any further, we would like to bring out the fun facts with the Highlander.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Time for Highlander's fun fact.
He didn't bring
fun fact.
I have one in my brain.
Okay.
Speaking of healthcare, what animal has the highest blood pressure? Highest.
Let me guess.
A hippopotamus.
No, that would be
They're fat.
they're born with type 2 diabetes.
There you go. Right.
A
Donald
cheetah?
Trump.
Nope. Think highest.
Highest blood pressure.
Oh, it's a type of bird.
Nope.
A plane. Why are you looking up?
Can leap a
Highest.
single bound.
A roofer in
Oh,
Kentucky.
I know, a giraffe. Because
giraffe.
it has,
gotta pump it up.
yes,
all through the neck.
Oh,
Right.
weird. I didn't even think
that
about
weird?
that.
That's interesting.
What is a giraffe heart? How big is a giraffe heart? That look like a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
think
Giraffe
about
has the
that.
highest blood pressure.
Right.
That's something that you can bring up at a bar.
Right.
In Scotland?
And nobody has no one has any response to it. You're
In a
like,
kid's classroom.
and then,
Okay.
by the way, everybody, just in case anybody was wondering, the animal with the highest blood pressure, giraffe.
Because it has to go high.
By the way, because of the height of the giraffe neck, the blood needs to be pumped up to a higher level, an altitude of possibly 30 feet. Does anybody want to buy me a drink yet?
Titus
God.
in Scotland.
Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. Do me a favor, go to ChristopherTitus.com. I am going to finish Columbus this weekend. Oh, sorry,
You already finished Columbus.
Columbus was last weekend.
But we're going to be at the
Yeah.
Fringe Festival the whole month of August, and so we're performing the 3rd through the 28th. I'm at the Drawing Room. He's at Studio 2, both part of the Assembly. And you can get tickets. You can find the link on both of our websites, or go to the Fringe Festival website and get tickets
And we will
there.
be doing this with Ray and I and the Hylinder in California from Scotland. So we will still
Yes.
be doing the podcast. The Armageddon updates are already recorded.
We'll have
But thanks
plenty
for
to
watching.
tell you guys about starting
Yeah.
next week.
For myself, the lovely Bombshell, Ray, and the Hylinder. Later.
Peace out.
There can be only one.
But this type of cruelty on those that we say we hold up as our most valued Americans, then what are we? You don't support the troops, you support the war machine. This is an embarrassment to the Senate, to the country, to the founders, and all that they profess to hold dear. And if this is America first, then America is fucked.